Hello and welcome to another episode of Dance Teachers Academy. I am your host, Jose on the mic, and with me as always is the lovely, amazing dancer, Ame. How are you doing?
Wonderful. I just had a wonderful class.
You did have a wonderful class. We are still enjoying the Emerald Ball 30th anniversary. I want to give mad props out to Wayne and Donna. They are doing a fabulous job. This is top-notch work that they're doing. To that effect, we have the teachers from this morning.
Top notch.
Top-notch as well, because, you know, that's how we roll. Melissa and Giacomo, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to be here with us.
Very much appreciate
Our
it.
pleasure to be here, and again, we'd like to extend our congratulations to Wayne and Donna Ng on the fabulous Emerald Ball. I remember competing here just a few years ago.
Yeah, we don't say numbers
just
here.
a few more.
We was here last week. Yeah.
And then retired.
It's just a fabulous job. So congratulations.
That's great.
I have been admiring your dancing for years. Not that many years,
Not
but
that
you
many.
know what I'm
Thank
saying.
you.
So it's such a thrill to have you on the interview, but I just enjoyed a class that I feel like, for me personally, I needed so much right now. So let's highlight some of the things that you talked about in the class that we just had.
Well, our topic was "You're the Key," because traveling around the world so much in so many countries and working with so many dancers, the information nowadays is just phenomenal on physicality, on eating, performance. I mean, the internet does, and all the fabulous teachers that there are around the world. But what's happened is that I feel personally is that we're turning only into intellectual, like, okay, I get that here. Mm-hmm. I know it here. Mm-hmm. But what about our body?
Can't transfer it physically?
And if we're a competitor under stress, it's not a book test. I know you know it, but if I don't see it, I can't mark it. Or if I want to be a comfortable social dancer, I'm the key to the change. So if my teacher, coach, or whatever, or I read it, if I read it saying, whatever, am I doing it? Because I'm the key to make the change.
Yeah, book sense doesn't transfer to physical sense.
Right.
No,
and dancing is a physical, we've got to do it. And then if you're a competitor, under stress is even more challenging. Mm-hmm. So it has to be even more in your senses. So that was our topic was that you're the key to making the change once you have the information.
One of the still on the topics is to give them just a tool how you actually transition from thinking something and to actually sensing it, to actually really do it and really applying it.
Putting it into practice.
Putting it into practice, because I always tease people when they go, how many years you've been dancing? We go 20, 25, and I say, okay, so how come that you can still not do
what you're supposed to do?
I'm not expecting a high level, but we're talking about simple things like stay balanced. Can you walk?
I hear that's important when you're a dancer.
But people don't fall off balance. But the moment you tell them, "Oh, we have to work on your balance," all of a sudden they
fall off
balance. So it actually started me thinking, like, okay, well, what is happening in here? And a lot of people practice a lot what they call it quantum physics. Really, they spend hours and hours on front of the mirror, and they take things to a level that you even scratch your head. It's like, I didn't even know that existed in my body. And then I go and verify, and I was like, yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's not supposed to do that.
That's not supposed to do that. So a lot of times we think we don't know enough, and that give us in a position that we're not good enough at that point. When in reality, you don't need to know that much to be good. There's really you have to.
There is a reason they say less is more.
That's what they were saying in the class.
Less is more.
And one of the typical things I'll get people say, "Well, I don't have any rhythm." I said, "No, you have to have rhythm. You walk down the street.
Yeah.
Everybody has rhythm.
You
I
got
don't
here.
know what their rhythm is, but
Yeah.
picking up a glass, I have my own rhythm. I don't sit there and go."
That's a rhythm too.
Right, but it's a rhythm that's not. Do you know what I mean?
A stuttering John, but I get it.
Yeah, and it's just that awareness to make it so that you sense it. And sensing, we love to use the word sensing, not do you feel it? Because in today's world, really, if someone says, do you feel it, we judge it. It's good or bad.
Yes.
Right?
what
And
it
it's
is, but
not
that's what they
about,
jump to.
because
It's
in
digital
dancing,
at that
it's
point.
A development. How I'm not the same dancer I was, 20 years ago. I'm not going to be the same that, you're not in the next week. So what I sense today will be different what I sense 6 months from now if I'm practicing it. So it's not about good or bad. It's where you are. So we want to sense it with no judgment.
Basically,
Awareness.
give them a tool to be in the present, what reality is. Our reality is.
Yeah, how do you feel right now?
As you feel right now, and just deal with what's happening right now, not what you think it should have been happening, because that's the theory. And that's where people really loses I can do it in practice, but I cannot do it in a competition. So yeah, because in practice you take 45 minutes to do one step. In a competition, you have a quarter beat. So when
That's it.
You got to change the.
You have to
practice.
breach that.
Fine.
Real.
Start with the 45 minutes, then break it down to the 30 minutes, then get it to 15 minutes, and then go to 5 minutes, and then start 1 minute, and we'll get to the quarter beat eventually. But you got to shift. You got to make.
Eventually, you have to do a quarter beat sometimes, and it's gonna feel different. How do you know? If you use your senses, you know it a lot faster, and it's a lot more enjoyable.
That makes sense.
And that's actually, you realize that it's easier than you think.
This is so interesting. So, talking about today, dancing rumba walks, and now dance it lighter. And how did you feel, and what happened? And now dance it
Grounded.
Heavy, or whatever expression you want.
Yes, and I found and just the way that you set our minds before we started doing that, I felt it changed my mood.
It does.
It does.
Yeah, and
it
so
changes your how you do it, how you feel about it,
and it made it
character.
so fun.
Your character would change.
Yes, and then so it made me think of, I would use this at a moment of, and then I started visualizing that, and it made it fun. And I always tell people, dancing should be fun, and that's when we lose sight of that, right? How easy it is. So
we get so sometimes just too much in the minutia of it, And I always say, why? What got you here? Obviously, if you want to be professional, it is at a different level. But if you don't, I know it's a sell, but if you don't enjoy the journey for the most part, go on another one. Because you're never going to show it out there on the floor. If you want to be a social dancer, great. You want to dance once a month. You want to dance only West Coast swing. You only want to dance salsa. Be my guest. Just move, because if you don't, you lose it.
Yes.
But those that want to go to the next level, they've got to get what they know in their head and put it into a working, your conscious, subconscious.
It's the typical expression when they say you have to own it. When do you own it? Once you experience it.
Sure.
We can get all philosophical about what the know means. In Sanskrit, it's like to know means to go through. To go through means to experience it. Right. Until you experience it, you don't really know it.
And then to get
you
to
think
where
you know it.
It happens automatically, especially if you're a competitor. When I competed, I didn't have to think about straightening my legs and pointing my foot. My foot went in the air; it pointed automatically. I can't sit there and think, I got to point my foot now. I'm in a competition. It has to. Those things have to stop happening automatically.
Actually, you basically get out of your head. It's like.
That's when
we're
my favorite.
We're the biggest block that we have.
So really, what we're trying to do is give it a tool that now the typical when we say, stop thinking now, you have to dance, and people go like, what?
Muscle memory.
What do you mean? What do you mean? And they go.
You gotta laugh at yourself. Oh my God! I go back to some of my old videos. It's just. It's not laugh how to make fun of yourself, but to see how good you become or change.
See what the journey's done.
And if you can't laugh when you're during the journey.
Now.
So enjoying the journey, can you give an example of how to do that?
Well, again, getting out of the head, judgment. Okay, I wanted to be this good. It doesn't lose sight where I want to go. But if I am so negative to myself, my body is going to say, forget you. You're never happy anyway. Why should I bother? You're never happy. I think of my mind and my body, they two different things, right? They're out here, and I want to get them together. I want them to work together.
Get in line.
So, my body today.
At least in the same room.
I could say, people say, well, it didn't feel exactly the same. It's never going to. You're a different person again than I was yesterday. Yesterday it felt this way. Today I didn't get enough sleep, or I drank too much water, or I just, whatever.
Too
it is.
much fun.
Or do you just
There wasn't-
just drink too much?
There wasn't water.
Or not enough coffee yet. So why are you
That's an
talking to me?
example.
Why are you even talking to
But
me?
just, or oh my God, I didn't practice the 4 hours. Enjoy the journey. If you only have 20 minutes to practice, then that's it. Are you 20 minutes closer to achieving your goal? Now, if you want to be a professional and champion, you can't do 20 minutes every day, but those things happen. And you need to know the balance of when do you have to be dedicated and when are you messing up, slipping up and getting too lazy, or when are you just going way over the top and you're missing your own
And miserable.
and you're not enjoying the journey, which will then take you twice as long to get there because you are so miserable.
Or it's not worth it.
It's
It
not
becomes
worth it.
emotionally not worth it. There's
Yeah.
a difference between making a plan. I have a plan. I can be detailed. I'm trying to stick to the plan, but
And sometimes I fall
Well,
off, but
sometimes
being
you
real
fall
about
off
it.
and it's
Okay,
okay.
I fell off, no problem. I'm back on.
back on. And the other thing is we have to realize that our head is always 6 months ahead of our body at least.
Oh, yeah.
Even when
Oh, yeah.
we think we got it, then we discover
still-
something else, and then you're like, oh, okay, well then it's not good, and we're starting to have those games. It's like, no, that's good enough. Then.
Yeah, sure. You get out there and you're like, hey, you're gonna pay attention today. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean,
And the other
well,
thing,
Are
if to be real, becoming a champion, if you think it's going to be fun every step of the way, it's not. There are going to times the tears come, the frustration comes. That's part of the journey too. But you have to embrace it. You can't pretend like it doesn't happen, and because the more you pretend things don't happen, the more they want to knock. They're going to get harder because they're going to say,
it's not wine and roses all day long.
You pay attention to me. It knocks on your door until finally you say okay, but not judging it. So okay, I had a bad rehearsal today. Okay, I'm just off this week. That doesn't mean I don't do it, but I don't bait myself up over the coals and get into this downward spiral, which is twice as hard to get out of.
Yeah. Hey, listen, sometimes the dragon wins. You figure out how he beat you that day and
Yeah.
don't let him beat you that way again.
You get up and you keep going, and
Persistence.
say, okay.
So that's where you use your brain and say, okay, let's change strategies maybe.
Sure.
That's when your brain kicks in. It's like, okay, let's figure it out why it's not working. Let's make it work. It's a constant, I call it ping pong or table tennis
People
game.
want to put it really. They want to say, okay, I have my rumba walks now. I'm done. No. To the day we retired, we were trying to get technically better because our belief is as you can only be artistically. Sorry, I'm thinking. Your artisticness it can only depend on your technical ability. What is one more important than the other? No. Oh, they're both important.
Artistic
but I've got to
expression,
have
yes.
the technical
skills
to be able to be brilliant artistically.
Yeah.
They can't go
It
without.
happens all the time. There's a lot of, especially young couples, they come in and you've got no beat to break the rules, choreography-wise or technique-wise or timing-wise. And
Shortcut and everything?
It's like, no shortcut. It's like make it different.
Make a difference.
It looks different.
Stand out.
So they will start with us when I was competing or starting to compete as a professional. We come up with some innovations in the choreography, costuming, and things like that. They were different at that time. Today they're normal. And they will come in and say, well, we want to do what you do. We want to be different. We want to break the rules. The first thing I'll do, I'll get a book of syllabus and I'll say, okay, study this. And they're like, well, but no, we don't want to do the basic, we want to do what you do. And I said, listen, if you want to break a rule,
You got to know what the rule is.
What you're doing, you're not breaking a rule. I don't understand what you're doing, so know the rule first.
Got to rule, yeah.
Classic example, Picasso.
Yeah.
Before he could break the rules of art, he
knew
the
yes,
rule of art.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And breaking the rules also depends on who you are sometimes.
Yeah.
You're in a world final.
You
You
can
can break the rules a little bit more than you can that someone's in the 100
Or trying to get it. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's right. It's just that's life.
Yeah.
It's,
And maybe the goal isn't like, I want to break the rules, right?
Yeah.
Like, well,
No, it's
why?
just to
Like,
be-
why? You would want to know, well, why do you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and it's also, again, we go back to what we talked about today. When you're sensing something and you do not judge it, you're all going to do it differently than somebody else.
So you're all gonna have your
because your
own-
senses are different than his. The way
Sure.
you're going to perceive your weight or your touch or the music is different than his.
and there's the personality.
That's
of
where
the
you're going to
individual
already
dancer.
look different just if you tune into that.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about to do what we think is correct, you're going to look like the same.
Cookie cutters.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's really another key. Is like, just listen really to the music and start applying what you sense in the moment with the music, and that's it. You're going to look different than I do. If we're all trying to do what he said it should be done, the way it should be done, the way it should be felt, well, we're pretty much going to look the same, and neither of us is going to be happy.
No.
We do have barriers.
No,
we
not
do
at
have
all.
the technique that has certain rules that we all
Bend, straighten the
Bend,
leg. This
straighten
is the
the leg,
count.
okay.
Side, diagonal. Those are, kind of.
But how we sense it is going to make it look different.
So it gives you your own fashion.
Your interpretation of it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Which is what we want. I don't want you to look like anybody else. How would you interpret that rumba music? I don't want you to be this person or that person. What's your take on it? How would you deliver it?
So how you sense it, that's going to make a difference. It's that easy. Just go with it, and then see kind of starting to know how you do it, and then
Simple.
you tell
Hey, let's go practice.
Done.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. So I like what you talked about with touch and this big deal that sometimes people that you see on the competition floor
Over energized?
Yeah, and you can even do an example here, right?
I mean, as I did.
Not that example.
Let me caress you.
Thank you.
You talk about you don't really.
In most
You
countries,
don't
that's
correct-
assault, huh?
I know, right? It's
That's pretty much everywhere.
you don't
But,
caress people like that.
well, he gets overboard, and if you see little kids like at 12, 13 years old that they don't have the concept of touch in a certain manner, it's okay, it's cute.
Yeah.
We know
If you see a
that, but we
professional
expect
doing it, I'm like, what's wrong with you, dude? It's like, what's happened to you?
But you're dancing, not giving her the Heisman. I'm like,
Yeah,
come on.
it's like,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
it's like when ladies love to do this thing where they touch the man's chest. They'll spin in and then they'll go like that. When would you ever do that in life?
Well,
When you
what
wanna-
happens when you pay?
When you want to show off your nails.
Yeah,
That and you save $200.
and then it's in a rumba. You're like, it's over. That is not natural. If you're touching someone on the, generally, man, you would touch. You wouldn't
Yes.
be pushing.
Yeah, and I like
You push it. Again, what is it that you're doing?
Right. If I'm spinning in, usually I'm going to want him to help me balance, not push him away. I mean, that's a technical thing, but that's not the story.
That's a detail.
Touching a man's shoulder, you'll see this in the frame a lot. And the purpose of that is, first of all, you're losing energy. You've got 4 or 5 rounds. You're trying to get into a final. And you're doing this on every dance at every step. Do you know
And
how
you're
much?
talking about like starting off like that.
Yeah, like take my hand in. I mean, do you know how?
Why
I mean,
would
it's
I
like
touch your hand?
It's like leaving a faucet on. It's like leaving a faucet on, and you're dripping out energy. By the time when your dance is really important, if you're making the final, you've expended,
And also, if you go deeper,
You
on
spent
this,
your powder.
Yeah, and it also depends. It's like if you look in body language and things like that, and somebody does things like that, you have no clue what you're doing because there's not. It doesn't have an intention. What is it that you?
They're breaking rules they don't know.
Yeah, it's basically what is it? I'm presenting her.
I've
It's
got
like,
to do
no, you know.
more. But the question is, what you should be at more of what?
They don't know.
Not more, just, okay, I'm going to go 100% of energy. One of the hardest things for dancers to do is to stand still, to be still, to dance stillness. And they go, well, I'm not doing anything. I said, you're doing 100% of stillness. You're not doing 100% of keeping someone away from you. Okay, Jack, I've got to keep them away. That's what I'm doing. But in stillness, I've got to be 100% mentally and physically in stillness. I'm always 100%. But 100% of what?
Yeah,
It's the what that we've got to ask, not just 100% of energy,
It's
or
like-
outward energy, or what's the physical, that one that
The constant
I gotta
motion.
show it. Yeah,
I like what you said about touching the body part.
take the shape,
Take the shape of the
body part.
I was
you're
like,
touching.
brilliant. And some of the most brilliant ideas are so simple.
Well,
Simple
that's
touch,
what our
right?
body understands. If I want to touch a leg, my hand knows how to do it. If I'm going to, how
like
do
this.
I show?
Yeah, not like-
how do I show my hand when it touches the leg? Is a different production,
Yeah.
but then it's a different thought. It's a different
He's trying
sense.
to
It's
show
a
that he's
different
bringing
idea.
attention to touching my leg. So it could be, or I could be over exaggerating, but once I touch his face, it's going to be. It's
Oh,
going
that
to
again.
change.
See, it's nice.
Oh, you two get a room, right?
We have a room every
We have
night.
a
We're
house now.
married.
So
You don't have to encourage an Italian.
yeah, but that's why touch is very important. It's like, I mean, it's a joke, but it's not. We, as a kid, with the relationship with your mother and things like that, especially in Italy, you get slapped a lot or you get caressed a lot. Physical contact
in Sicilian.
I mean, it is part of who we are. So when we actually have these things, it literally puts us in wrong place. Why are you doing that? It's totally off. Your body knows it. It's like, why are you doing that? Exactly.
Yeah,
so what people doesn't understand is that it changes the technique as well. If my priority is my hand and my arm, my structure, my spine has to work in a certain way. If my priority is this, well, my spine, my body has to do something different. And most people, what they don't realize is that they practice one thing and then they're trying to do another one when they are on the phone. That's something they don't realize.
Because they have to do more.
Because they're
competing.
They think they. Yeah.
Oh, I got to do more
exactly.
now. No, do what you've practiced. Don't do more. Because if you haven't practiced the more, it's not going to
show. It's not going to show.
You're going to have stress.
Well, that's most of the people that tease everybody when they say, okay, they feel great when they look at each other on the mirror and practice, and then go look at the videos of the comp and they cry because things don't come across. It's because you're too busy with too many things. And most of the time you even practice the wrong thing.
Less is more.
It's like, what is AA?
Less is more.
You practice in the general skill, okay, coordination of your body, okay, do your coordination of the body, action, impaction, leg action, foot action, and put them all together. I call it a slow motion. Just keep it flat, no dynamics implied to it, just coordination. It's fine. But once you actually put it into a choreography, you put it into a specific idea, something has to change. Because the idea is different. The senses are different. You're using different tools. You're using a different dynamic.
The music started.
The music started. Go back to, I'm using it in 4 counts, so I have a quarter of a beat to do it. Well, guess what? Things are going to change. But they don't, that's a very simple concept. It's very normal for us in everyday life, but somehow when we go and dance, we don't seem to make that switch. So most of the time we do practice the wrong technique. Because we change the idea and we don't make the transition.
That's a nugget for you. That's free. The next one's going to cost you.
Yeah.
Right?
These kids don't work for nothing. I mean, they got to pay rent too.
Oh, we stay here. That's okay.
Well, I really enjoyed that, and I feel like I really needed that, for myself, because I think it's really easy to be so judgmental of yourself. And I found myself like, wow, I've been doing that. And then so there's a certain freedom now, like, oh, well, I can have fun again, You can
have fun and learn.
Yeah.
Actually, you learn faster.
Yeah, if you're having fun there.
And I have fun with so much of this career, what I do, but, we can always have more fun.
Right. And you learn. I mean, when we're so critical, we get nowhere fast.
Yes. Yeah.
We just dig a hole.
Yeah.
And we dig ourselves such into a hole that we can't move. And as if in competition, do I expect you to make a mistake? Yes, you will. It's live. It is not a movie. Did I ever do a performance 100 million in my dance career that I did not make a mistake?
Flawless? Nobody.
I didn't see any.
I just got really good at covering them up.
Yeah.
That's
I don't make mistakes. I improve steps.
I got really good at covering them up. And that's
I liked how you changed your choreography today. Hey, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you just get real. And so people go, I got to be perfect. That is perfect. If I can change in the moment according to the situation, then that is what perfection is.
Stay amorphous.
Wonderful.
I like it.
That's wonderful.
No, that doesn't mean on Monday when the competition is over, we are not going to have a talk about it. If
yeah,
it's
sure.
A recurrent
oh,
problem,
hey, by the way,
but if it's recurring,
well, then we do have a problem in there.
But
I got to talk to you about Heat 473. I mean, that thing was.
But people go out there putting so much stress. I've got to do this right. I've got to do this perfect. I got to some form of that sentence. They'll go, and it's like you're setting yourself up because you will make a mistake. How many? God knows. But you will.
And
You're
go back
doomed to
the
failures
key.
if
Yeah.
you're,
Yeah,
if you're sitting there
basically you're
trying
setting
to.
yourself up for
Yeah,
failure. Because again,
you're
you
doomed for failure.
Yeah.
What is it? We go back to what we did today in the lecture. You're setting yourself for something that is not real. It's just on paper.
It's a pipe dream. You're not going to get this.
You're not going to get that.
Yeah.
It's
You can get close to
unattainable
it.
in a live performance.
But the funny part is, once you get close to it, you find something else that it makes it even further.
Right.
Then you get better, and then you discover something else that is going to bring it even further. So you really never get to what you think.
No.
And that's why
There's
you
a
better-
reason that carrot's out there that you're chasing.
That's
That's
your
why you
character that you're
better
chasing.
enjoy the journey.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Pearls.
Pearls of wisdom.
Yes.
Words of wisdom.
Carrots
All
of wisdom.
Yeah, carrots of wisdom. Yeah, we'll do that. Kids, I'm not going to hold you up any longer. I know you have
So
things to do.
Thank you for inviting us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
It was a
It was a
pleasure.
Melissa,
Thank you.
Giacomo?
Pleasure being
Pleasure.
in your class. I hope I have that opportunity again.
I hope
That'd
so.
be great.
I hope so.
That'd be great.
The lovely May, thank you.
Thank you, Jose.
All right, folks. Well, this has been another episode of Dance Teachers Academy. Thank you for watching.